Hi and welcome. I'm trying to learn Dinosaurology, today Triassic, and afterward we're going to do medial plane training. And if you participate in the medial plane training in the second half of the video, that is at your own risk. Now, Triassic. Here is written, first of all, we have a picture in the middle. And then there's written, life in the Triassic. About 200 million years ago, in the middle of Triassic times, the earliest dinosaurs were walking the Earth. So 200 million years ago were dinosaurs on the Earth, and that was in the middle of a time period, Triassic. We're having a little diagram. I don't really understand it yet, I haven't looked at it, but here are a bunch of times, and there's Triassic. Okay, that was 200 million years ago. Triassic seems to be from 248 until 230 million years ago, so around 200 million years ago. And during that time, dinosaurs were walking on the Earth. At this time, most of the land was joined together, and dinosaurs and other animals could roam over land to almost anywhere in the world. The world 240 million years ago, we're having a little graphic. And there's the world of today. Now, where we see what we've written here, that the world was almost one together. Today, the world, oh, where is the map? Is more like that. Now here are the continents. There are North America and South America, there's Africa and Europe and Asia and Australia. And 240 million years ago, they were all together. Okay, 240 million years ago, the planets were together. Planet Earth was much drier in the Triassic than it is now, and there were large deserts in inland areas. They're saying the planet Earth was much drier, so less rain, and probably also less lakes and seas. And there were large deserts in inland areas. Now, I think they mean the following. All the water was here at the outside of the planet, and all the country was together in one place. And that means that rain, which comes through the clouds, cannot rain down, I'm assuming that. And if the rain comes now through the clouds, it rains down in the first few hundred kilometers, but it doesn't travel into the inland, and now in the inland no rain falls, and no lakes come, and so on. And that makes it much drier. So there were many deserts, and they have used this as an illustration, probably with this picture that looks pretty dry. There's a lake, but here it all looks dry. There were no flowering plants or grasses. They evolved much later, so there were no flowers and no grasses. They came later. The most common trees were conifers, similar to today's pines. Okay, there were no flowers and no grass. They were growing conifers, and they are similar to today's pines. I don't know what a pine tree is. Not really, at least. But we're having here some things of the vegetation. There are a few things to picture. Maybe like that. Okay, 200 million years ago, that was the Triassic. There were the first dinosaurs, and the country was all together. And that is the reason why there were not many lakes, no seas, and not much rain, and it was much drier. There was no flowers and no grass. They haven't even existed at all. They evolved later. But there were trees known as conifers, and they are similar to today's pine trees. Other large plants included yews, ginkgos, and the palm-like cycads. Okay, there were the conifers, we had them already, and yews, ginkgos, and cycads. Moisture-loving ferns and horsetails thrived by lakes and rivers. There were ferns and horsetail. Horsetail seems to be also a plant. And we're listing a bunch of plants. Conifers, cycads, yews, ginkgos, and moisture-loving ferns and horsetails by rivers and lakes. So there were some rivers and lakes, but it was still much drier. The first dinosaurs shared the earth with other reptiles such as lizards and crocodiles, and with amphibians. So the word dinosaurs on the earth. Let's say that looks like a dinosaur, and that also. But they're now telling us that at the time there were other animals, and these were lizards and crocodiles and other amphibians. Now I can't see a crocodile in the picture, but that looks a bit like a lizard. Okay, there were dinosaurs and other types of animals, crocodiles and lizards, and also amphibians, so animals which can live in water and on land, or both. There were many insects too, some similar to those of today, such as beetles, grasshoppers, and cockroaches. So there were insects, probably smaller animals, and maybe you're going to say this a little bit. There were insects, and there were some which are beetles, I don't know beetles. There were grasshoppers, these are the animals which can hop, and cockroaches, so little insects. And flies also. And flies, bees and wasps first evolved during the Triassic period. So during the Triassic period, 200 million years ago, when the world looked like that altogether, and it was much drier, then the dinosaurs were running around, and other animals were the crocodiles, other amphibians and lizards, and plants like the yews or the geckos or the conifers or the horsetails or the ferns were growing. There were insects like the beetles, grasshoppers and cockroaches, and the flies and bees and the wasps evolved. A drying lake in North America. That is a picture. That has the name. A drying lake in North America. And there's no here to that one animal, that one which is drinking here, to that one dinosaur. Long-necked Mossopondylus was one of the first tall plant-eating dinosaurs ever to live on Earth. So there were dinosaurs living on the Earth, and they started to be living on the Earth 200 million years ago in the Triassic. And one of them, who was the first one who was eating plants, was the Mossopondylus. And he was a very tall animal. Having here another picture, or another shadow of the Mossopondylus, that one here. The Mossopondylus. And now here is the Colophysis. That is the one with the big mouth. The Colophysis. That one was a fierce, fast-moving hunter. Now that one here is the Mossopondylus, which is drinking bear. That was a tall plant-eating dinosaur. And the Colophysis, that was a fierce, fast-moving hunter. It ran on two legs, leaving its sharp-clawed hands free from grasping prey. Scientists believe that by hunting in packs, Colophysis could probably overcome prey larger than themselves. So we seem to be a bit larger. Now, that big, large plant-eating Mossopondylus is far in the background, so that is why it's smaller, but it's probably pretty big. But here in front, the Colophysis is smaller, but they were maybe working together in groups, and so we could hunt larger animals. Okay, the Colophysis. The Colophysis had claws and was running on two legs, and now he could use his claws to grasp prey, the animals which he hunted, the other dinosaurs. And if they worked together, maybe, but they did it, then they could hunt larger animals. Next one here is the Metaposaurus. The Metaposaurus was a large amphibian, nearly 3 meters long. It hunted other creatures for food. Metaposaurus, that one here in the water, in the mud. The Metaposaurus. Metaposaurus was a large amphibian. So that animal could live on land and in the water, and in the sea also. That animal is partly out of the water, but somehow in the water. It's amphibian. Metaposaurus was a large amphibian, nearly 3 meters long. That animal is 3 meters long, so more than my arms can reach. It hunted other creatures for food, around the reach of my arms. It hunted other creatures for food. We're having here another one who was hunting, the Metaposaurus and the Colophysis. And now let's read that little thing here, what is written here, at the end, and then we're going to do the medial plane training. There was a greater area of desert in North America in Triassic times, 200 million years ago. Plants tended to grow around lakes or temporary pools of water formed after rains. This panorama shows the animal and plant life surrounding a dry lake. A drying lake. So that is a panorama, and that should illustrate us how it might have looked. That is all over a desert, and here in the middle is a lake, and it's drying. The sun is shining strongly, and here's already no water anymore, already dried. And there's the Metaposaurus trying to drink something, and there are other animals. And here's also the Metaposaurus, and here's the Colophysis, and that one was hunting. That was running on two legs and hunting with his claws. Could grasp animal. That one was also hunting. That one is 3 meters big. That was one of the first who was a plant eating a large animal. And there were all the ferns, and we can't see insects right now, maybe because it's pretty dry here. Now, we will continue in Triassic Part 2. If you're here for Dinosaurology, or maybe also Paleontology, for Dinosaurology, then you can go directly to the next part where we will then do Triassic Part 2. If you're here for the medial plane training, we're going to do that now. If you participate in the medial plane training, then sit your arms. We're warming a bit up, and we're bringing the leg up, and we're pointing the foot down. And we're bringing the other leg up, and we're pointing the foot down. And now we're doing that one. We're breathing in and going down. And we're breathing out. Breathing in. And out. Now breathe in and close the legs. And out. We are bringing one leg up into a right angle. We're having a flexed foot, even line hips, taller with the back, and we're pressing from the top against the knee. You can do it quite easily, but you can do this also with a lot of strength. Even aligned hips, taller with the back, and have a little bend in the elbow. And we're changing over to the other side. The leg up, right angle with the leg, a flexed foot, even lined hips, taller with the back, and we're pressing from the top against the knee. And the next exercise, the leg up, same setup, and now we're pressing from the inside. Right angle with the leg, a flexed foot, even lined hips, taller with the back, and have a little bend in the elbow. And with the other leg, the leg up, and we're pressing from the inside. And the next exercise. We are bringing one leg up into a right angle, flex foot, even line hips, taller with the back, and we're pressing from the outside against the knee, and we're opening slowly. That's also the last exercise. Slowly the leg, and we're pressing the whole time. And we're closing again slowly. While we keep pressing the whole time. And we're doing that again. We're opening slowly. And we're closing again slowly. And now with the other leg. Leg up, right angle with the leg, flex foot, even lined hips, so don't be too high on one side, even lined hips, taller with the back, press from the outside against the knee, have a little bend in the elbow, and we're opening slowly the leg. And we're closing again slowly. And again, we're opening slowly. And we're closing again slowly. And we're doing the closing exercise, legs wide apart, we're breathing in and going down. And we're breathing out. Again in. Out. And the last time breathe in. Close the hands and out and down. That was the medial plane training. I thank you very much, and until next time.